No, right? He's 13 foot, 900 pounds. He can launch his body out of the water at 35 miles an hour at a third of his own body length. So if he really wanted to get to me right now, he absolutely could. But don't worry, guys, I got a stick. So, in saying that, his muscle fibers are also 6 times.
I am at the Sawgrass Recreation Park in southern Florida to do one of these airboat tours through the swamp, something I've never done before, and I'm excited to check it out. I'm Morgan from the Very Unofficial Travel Guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years about popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. And I also wrote a book filled with true travel stories of things that have happened to me around the world called Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship. It's available on Amazon now. I've been in Miami Beach for a week now, and you know, I am not necessarily a fan of Miami Beach. I feel like everybody here is trying to scam you for more money, and this has been no exception so far. We went to the office of Miami Tours to book this tour, and they had different prices listed. She offered us a special price because my friend Andreas has his son with, who's 14 years old, and she said, I'll just give you all the kids' price. It's only $49, and that includes the transportation and the boat ride and the alligator show and all that. The first thing that seemed weird to me is she said, but I'm only gonna take cash. Didn't have enough cash, and she said, well, that's no problem. We have an ATM right here in the store. Sketchy. I'm gonna show you our thrilling boat ride in just a few minutes, but I have to tell you more about what this experience with Miami Tours was like first. We showed up the next morning at our assigned meeting time, and before we boarded the bus, the driver informed us that the drive would take about an hour, and if we wanted to sit in the front of the bus so we could see something, we'd have to pay him $5 cash extra. That's Miami Beach for you. Once everyone was on the bus and we were ready to go, half of the people had to get back out again because the office made some kind of organizational mistake and they were actually supposed to be on a different tour. Then, when we finally left, about 45 minutes later than planned, the bus was having transmission problems, meaning the driver couldn't shift above third gear. He informed us that we'd be getting to the park late and we would have to leave early in order to get back on time for a second pickup, meaning that altogether, the actual time that we would have at the park was going to be more than an hour less than it was supposed to be. At this point, I was half expecting him to say, if you want me to drive you back to the actual drop-off point, you're going to have to pay me another $5 extra. Once we finally arrived at the park, all 60 people from the bus had to quickly use the bathrooms and run down to the docks to board our boats. A few words of advice from someone who has done this already. If you have long hair, it's probably better to tie it up or put it under a hat. Also, they give you earplugs and you should definitely use them because it's really loud. Even with the earplugs, it's loud. The seats are staggered in height, so you don't really have to worry about where you sit, although of course the front row will offer you the best views, and they don't even make you pay $5 more to sit there. Once we left the dock and got out into the swamp, I was actually surprised at how thrilling the ride was. Check it out. As you can see, it wasn't fast all the time, and our very experienced driver had a lot to tell us about this unique ecosystem in the swamp, as well as the animals that we saw or didn't see. He mentioned that it's actually really rare to see an alligator on these boat tours because the boats scare them away. We did see several birds though, and I wanted to make sure that you know the ride was not all super fast and thrilling. There are also moments where you can do some sightseeing and bird watching, ask the driver questions, and just enjoy being out on the water. Also, the driver mentioned that the wind was a big factor the day we were there, and he usually does more whips and turns, but it just wasn't possible because it was too windy. The boat ride itself is just one part of visiting the Sawgrass Recreation Park. If you go to their website, you can see they offer other packages and activities, and after our boat ride, we had a little bit of time to visit their so-called animal sanctuary, which is a small zoo with over 50 rescued reptiles, including tortoises and iguanas. The main exhibit is, of course, the Florida alligators. There was a small theater set up around this caged-in pond, and I wouldn't necessarily call it a show, but it was like an informational presentation about the alligators, and definitely the chance to see them up close and take pictures. So if someone tells you that you are guaranteed to see alligators on this tour, this is what they mean. You will definitely see an alligator here in this pond.
No, right? He's 13 foot, 900 pounds. He can launch his body out of the water at 35 miles an hour at a third of his own body length. So if he really wanted to get to me right now, he absolutely could. But don't worry, guys, I gotta stay. So, in saying that, his muscle fibers are also 6 times his dense.
You can also pet a baby alligator if you want to and get your picture taken with it. If you get hungry, there's a food truck offering snacks, including alligator bites, as well as a gift shop. I mean, what tourist attraction in Florida wouldn't have a gift shop, right? On the way home, the bus could hardly make it up any bridge. We were causing some major traffic, and the driver kept making announcements to let us know he was doing his best with the bus that was basically about to die. Do you see this? That is the actual speed coming home on the highway. We were driving like 10 miles an hour. In that sense, the drive home took much longer than expected, and if we had had tickets or reservations for another tour or something after this one, or maybe like a babysitter at home, we definitely would have been late. I don't know what to tell you. I think if you have a car, it's better to just book this directly on the Sawgrass Recreation Park website and then drive over there yourself. There are other websites that are not MiamiTours.com that offer this tour in the Miami area, but basically what they are selling is a ticket to go with Miami Tours. So I kind of think that if you want to do this and you don't have your own transportation, you kind of have to use Miami Tours. But if you know of a different way to do it, please let me know in the comments so I can avoid using this tour operator in the future. I'm sure that they have a lot of tours where everything goes exactly as planned, but the whole thing just kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with them offering us a better price if we pay them cash right now, and then making us pay extra if we want to sit in the front of the bus, and then the bus being a piece of junk and not being offered any kind of discount or anything like that when we returned. It just seemed kind of shady to me, and I don't know if I would recommend using this tour company again in the future. In just a few days, I will be boarding the Independence of the Seas, so if that's something you're also interested in, make sure you subscribe. If you're planning a trip to Southern Florida or Miami Beach, let me know if you have any questions. I try to read all the comments and answer any questions that I can. Check out Getting Stitches on a Cruise Ship and press the thumbs up button before you go.